Ever wondered what it's like to walk around in terrifying forests while following a living pot? Yeah, me neither. But that is exactly what this new indie game offers. The Midnight Walk is a quick and easy game with only about 16 trophies, which are really simple to achieve. I even waited for the game to drop at 12 AM my time, so that was a lot of fun. Definitely not sleep deprived. As soon as we are able to move, you can probably sense the artistry this game was trying to capture. Gorgeous art style and hitting the vibe just right. You can also experience this in VR if you are mental enough to spend about 450 euros on that pile of shit. We grab our eyes, our ears, and get introduced to the first main mechanic of this game, which is listening. Anytime we please, we can close our eyes and listen carefully to locate different objects or enemies, and sometimes even move objects or open doors. I feel like the listening aspect of this game was really underused since I practically never used it for collectibles. We open the door and start up the campfire with our matchstick. We will be using a lot of matches in this game, so get ready for that. We find ourselves in the first chapter of the game, which serves as an introduction to the story, and all 4 types of collectibles we will be hunting throughout. Discs, tapes, figurines, and shell phones. Each one has their own respective trophies, so pay close attention. I actually managed to miss the first collectible presented to us in this game, which is a talent on its own. After learning how to crouch and opening this door, we rekindle this little potboy who will be our main companion throughout the whole game. He is especially useful to us since he can light up candles, interact with different objects, and keep us warm if needed. We can also feed him coal, which serves no gameplay purpose, which is a shame. We travel with our new buddy through forest while listening to this amazing narrator as we breathe in the atmosphere and locate a vinyl disc. Just a little spoiler, these discs will come haunt me in the future. In the next section, we get introduced to the first enemy of the game, which at first I don't even react to and get my head bitten off. The only way for us to combat these enemies is to hide either in a crouching spot or a wardrobe like this one. Luckily, our pod companion is immune to literally everything and can't die, so no need to protect him. Don't know why the devs didn't give him a health bar and make us protect him just like in the escort missions we all love in other games, but whatever. This concludes the first chapter of the game and we get thrown into the main road, which we shall revisit after every chapter. This game is pretty short with only about 5.5 chapters, which is a shame since I quite enjoyed it and wanted more. Back to it, we enter our little house where we can review each collectible we have collected thus far, but also check which collectibles we are still missing. This will be crucial at the post-game cleanup, so thank you devs for that one. From this point out, we also get another companion which we rarely get to interact with. The companion I'm talking about is our house. Yes, you heard correctly. Our house. No comment on that one. We make our way to the start of the second chapter, which is all about this ghost-looking big-nosed monster. We also get to meet this absolute yapper who is just constantly aura farming, hinting at the meaning of life, and basically he is a proper stoner. The chapter begins in a village with talking heads on the floor while we complete basic puzzles and as usual collect collectibles. A cutscene interrupts us where we witness the so-called Mulgrim literally murder someone in broad daylight, or I guess nightlight. Our new objective is to deal with this monster and stop its killings. The newest toy we acquire is a weapon which is capable of shooting matchsticks. Extremely useful. This gun can be used both as a puzzle solver but also as a stun for the enemies you might encounter on your journey. Arriving at the swamp where Mulgrim resides, we get attacked by it, and before being decapitated, the little potboy rescues us by drawing Mulgrim's attention away from us and onto him. Oh no. We're alone. Saving him is our main priority now as we enter Mulgrim's den where we learn a sad truth. The Mulgrim acts aggressive towards the village because its residents killed its mother. This fact isn't conveyed to us directly, but as we can see later on, these stone murals confirm our suspicion. After saving our boy, we are tasked with locating 3 different shards to fill the outside of the cauldron. The first shard is hidden behind a puzzle where we have to listen carefully for a specific sound cue that lets us know where exactly the mask we are looking for is. We repeat it 3 more times and the shard is ours. Unlocking a trophy in the process for closing our eyes for a total of 1 minute. Probably the most out of place trophy in this trophy list. To get the next shard, we must safely guide the lost village resident to a safe place just after the starting zone of this level. Nothing too crazy. And for the last shard, we must travel upwards where we are introduced to yet another puzzle. In this one, we must correctly assess the order of the story based on a piece of paper we find just before entering the area. Not gonna lie, I got extremely confused by the second symbol and kept messing up the order. Just before I managed to completely defile my console system, I tried one more time, but this time switched up a little and thankfully it worked. So, story recap. The heads, while still possessing their original bodies, invaded a peaceful village where Mulgrim and its mother lived. They killed the mother, everyone got allegedly decapitated for whatever reason, and since then, Mulgrim is pissed off and starts eating the heads whenever it pleases. With our 3 shards, we make our way back to the big cauldron in Mulgrim's lair and light it up, making the Mulgrim very pleased, which means that the peace in the village is restored once again, if only for a short while. The talking heads congratulate us and give us a key we use to progress to the end of the second chapter of the game. We find ourselves at the beginning of chapter 3 and right at the start we notice that it is snowing. A little change in surroundings is always nice. Completing a small puzzle involving our potboy brings us to a section with a completely new mechanic. If we want to survive, we must stay really close to the source of heat. Whether that would be a lit candle or probably the best option, our potboy himself. Being careful is really important since we are in control of where our boy travels to. So if we send him out into the open while wind is blowing really hard, the fire in his head gets blown out and we must rekindle it, which could prove quite difficult since we might freeze to death by that point. Coalhaven. The third chapter of the game has us travel through a small settlement where this time no one is alive. Not even the heads like previously. The reason why no one is around these parts and why everything is frozen is because of a mysterious thief that stole every matchstick, which in turn means the furnace could not be lit anymore. Not sure why the only source of light for these people is a matchstick, but moving on. While collecting many various collectibles, I stumble upon a new enemy type. We get rid of it by closing our eyes and pretending it's not there. Reminds me of doing my taxes. The experience is quite similar. The only source of light we have at our disposal during this section is a blue flame matchstick, adding to the atmospheric aspect of this game, which is really well made, I must say. Our objective is to follow the ringing bells we can hear while our eyes are shut so we can collect a bone located at the end. To find the next bone, we must revive an old lady that lived in this destroyed house since she has a cool superpower, which is just being a Jedi. Before we can enter the house and grab the bone, we must first find a key to open the door. Let's definitely ignore the fact that she can probably just blast open the door with her powers alone. This new path leads us to a small puzzle where we have to heat up an oven or whatever this is and ignite the gas, which makes the door start to open. With our newly acquired key, we open the door and get jumpscared by this horrifying renter. Second bone acquired. To get the last piece of skeleton, we must make this poor old lady satisfied by somehow making her hear a particular song one last time. This song was sang by the thief, which is now unfortunately dead, so that won't work. What we can do is to bring her this singing head contraption thing, but of course we have to find it first. To do exactly that, we wander through a dark forest while listening to ringing bells which signal the correct path we must take. I actually managed to get stuck here for a brief moment for whatever reason. Looking back at the footage, it's clear as day as to where I should be going. Sometime I'm just stupid like that. Reaching the end of our small wandering journey, we light up the contraption, grab it from the ground and trade it in for the skull we need. Bringing the skull back to the grave, we complete the whole skeleton and finally get access to the big cauldron in the middle of the village. Our potboy lights up the skies and we finally manage to restore some resemblance of heat for this small little town. In front of the grave, a mysterious being appears and commands us to take off the blanket that sits on top of it. We do as we are told to do and reveal a definitely completely sober person under it. This person is in fact the thief this whole chapter revolves around, so at least we get some sense of closure. We set her free once and for all by setting aflame the matchstick she is holding. Very beautiful and poetic, may I say. And just like that, we enter a closet, jump out and receive a trophy for completing the third chapter of the game. Back on the
Midnight Walk,
we meet Aura King and take a small break right next to him and his campfire while he spits some life facts we all agree upon. Taking a nap reminds us of the fact that not even in our sleep we are safe, since this darkness guy has nothing better to do but haunt our dreams. Real mature of you. Moving on to the beginning of the fourth chapter, we get introduced to a new mechanic and this time we have stop motion. In order to open this huge gate ahead of us, we must first activate a pressure plate. The note tells us that we are able to make certain enemies move by closing our eyes, the idea being stopping them at the right time when they are standing over the mentioned pressure plate. We also get introduced to a new enemy type, which is probably the most dangerous one in the whole game since it moves at extremely high speed. A simple puzzle where we match the two clocks with each other later, we get our first glimpse of this big boy who will be the center of this chapter's story. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the story is all about here. All I know is that we must ignite all of these strings that connect to this metallic heart to complete our objective. Sneaking section where we hide behind cardboard cutouts to not get our head blown off is a nice change of pace. All of a sudden we take another break and watch a movie with the same guy that was trying to shoot us like 30 seconds ago. Highly suspicious. It's time to jump into the manhole. The tunnel we find ourselves in is really dangerous. That is because of the fact that it serves as a home for these horrifying creatures that can rip us into shreds in a matter of seconds. We make it out alive just to watch another tape. I'm not gonna lie, I started to skip the cutscenes in this chapter just because they were really boring and I played this at 3 AM in the morning, so I didn't want to fall asleep. To keep me awake though, the devs also decided to jump scare me, so thanks for that, Moonhood. The next part we find ourselves in was extremely annoying. You see, in order to progress we must light up 4 candles to unlock a door. We have done this numerous of times before, but this time 2 of those fast enemies patrol the area. It's not necessarily difficult, but I must admit I died again. Back at the tunnel we must hide thoroughly if we don't want to get ripped apart. We also have to complete a small puzzle where we turn this huge sculpture to create the perfect shadow. We watched the last movie with our boys and get surprised by the so-called moonbird, who is a real downer sometimes, just bringing the mood down all around. The last thing we need to do here is, like in every other chapter, light some huge object up. This time we have the metallic heart we saw at the beginning of the chapter. The big boy is once again fully alive and everyone is happy. Good ending achieved. With that, the 4th chapter is completed and trophy is acquired. The Tale of the Dark is our second to last chapter we must complete. Opening a door by lighting some candles, our potboy gets a little too excited and unfortunately completely destroys our house. Yeah, good one, mate. And if that wasn't enough, he also decides to simply die. I mean, I get him, so I'm not gonna judge him, but there surely is a better way to solve our problem. The scary darkness guy is kind enough to help us out by giving back the fallen piece of pottery that deactivated our pot boy, and we head back onto our adventure, meeting the aura guy for one last time before we part ways forever. We're trying to get right there, right on the top of the mountain. After we cross the bridge of darkness where we swiftly revisit every chapter we have encountered up to this point, we start up the last chapter of the game. Let me start off by saying that playing this chapter sucks gameplay wise. I had to replay it numerous of times as I was missing a bunch of collectibles, and oh my god, the last portion is just horrible, but we'll get to that in a minute. We grab the flying machine and off to the mountain we go. A lot of freezing sections ahead of us as we go higher and higher. The violinist goes insane during this part as well, which just hypes up the climb even more. Complete silence. Only us and our trusty potboy. Ahead of us is a strange opening. We enter and find an even more stranger star-looking object. Potboy knows exactly what to do and starts to light it up as per usual. The Avengers reunite when the burned down, completely destroyed house shows up out of nowhere and helps the potboy get to a higher level to reach the star object. He goes absolutely nuts, and just before everything burns down, he presents us with a choice. Either we continue with the flame or stop and walk away. We need to see both endings of the game, so it doesn't really matter what we choose here, but I went with the burn ending just because. We reignite the sun once again and everyone seems happy enough. We get a trophy, so we are definitely happy. That's the end of the game. Thank you for playing. Of course we don't stop here and run the last chapter back, this time picking the second and definitely the better option in my opinion. This option is in my opinion better since the potboy doesn't perish, which means we can go on many different adventures as a trio with our properly functioning home. The next step is to hit up chapter select and collect every available collectible and a bunch of miscellaneous trophies. Luckily, I've been searching thoroughly throughout my playthrough, so this should be no issue. As you can see, the game tells us in which chapter we missed stuff, and this clearly says The Tale of Moon Mountain. Instinctively, I load up that exact chapter and play through it again. Surprisingly, I find 0 new collectibles, so I played through it again, but this time even more carefully. Again, I find 0 new collectibles the second time around as well. So I play again and again, finally realizing something is definitely wrong with this description. Turns out that this description is a complete lie and I collected everything in this chapter already. Not trying to get hung up on this one single problem, I load up a different chapter. This time the beginning one where I missed the very first shell phone collectible. Good thing that after collecting everything, you are allowed to just simply leave to main menu without having to complete the whole chapter. In the second chapter, we grab a bunch of collectibles as well as reenact the great beheading for a trophy where we brutally decapitate our precious potboy. He gets back on his feet immediately, so please don't be sad. During this chapter, we also grab the last shell phone we needed, which means another trophy. In the fourth chapter, we collect the last tape for a trophy and also complete this miscellaneous trophy where we shoot our matchstick gun at this enemy in order to stun it for a little while. The next trophy we unlock is for collecting each clay figurine in the game, and the last collectible trophy we will be getting is for collecting every disc. Now with the last trophy remaining, we simply need to wait in our house. No, like literally. That is the trophy. Wait 10 minutes inside your home. I mean, I'm not complaining, at least I don't have to do anything. Definitely an A for creativity. To make this long process less boring, I'll play some Subway Surfers for you guys. Oh, I bet you didn't even notice the platinum popped already. See you next time.